Hello and welcome to Screen Views. I'm Dave.
I'm James.
And this is the weekly podcast where we give our views on a film and TV show.
Each episode is unscripted, unedited, so anything can happen. Listeners should be aware that we do include spoilers, so feel free to fast forward, rewind, or simply buckle up and enjoy a somewhat coherent conversation.
Our podcast is based on the idea that there's no such thing as a bad movie. Therefore, for every review, we'll give a recommendation instead of a rating.
But first up, we're going to have a quick discussion about what we talked about last week to see if our opinions have changed.
Hello.
Hello there.
Episode 5.
Yeah, we made it.
We're like a thing now.
Yeah. We're backing out of this now. It's a weekly tradition.
Yeah. I must say I enjoy our weekly tradition.
Yeah.
Things. I look forward to podcast day.
But it's weird because we finished in the cinema and we just don't talk anymore. We just have to just keep stum. So,
I know, yeah, and then we catch each other like talking to other people and like have to stumble into the room. Oh no, I can't be here.
Yeah,
You're talking about the film.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last week we talked about we watched A Quiet Place. Have your views changed on it? There's been a lot of buzz around there.
Yeah, I don't think so. No. I think an interesting thing to focus on is the whole popcorn eating, no eating debate rather than a re-review.
Yeah.
Because for me it's a really difficult one because people are making the argument that people shouldn't be allowed to eat in screenings of A Quiet Place. It's a film that raises the issue of people eating loudly in the cinema. And I think the reason I find it difficult is because for me cinema comes from a place of entertainment. And it is, it's not meant to be this highbrow sort of exclusive elite thing.
Yeah.
It's for the masses. And so I think the minute you start telling people that they can't eat, you're restricting them.
Well, I was thinking maybe what they should do is they should have, because whenever a film comes up for rewards, it's gets re-released for a limited time. And if it gets re-released for a limited time, I reckon they should do a 20% to 30% off on flumps, ice cream, anything that doesn't make any noise when eating it. They should actually promote like a bundle for A Quiet Place bundle.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a way to go with it because people think they're inside on the joke. They're inside on the actual. You just include everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
I think that's a really good idea, and that you should be.
Come back to me.
Yeah. James should be working in marketing. No. So I think. Well, yeah. So I don't think there's much to sort of review for me because I haven't changed nothing there.
I watched it just additional time since our podcast, and I'm still enjoying it. I really am. So, yeah, I've got nothing more to say on that. We can talk about divorce now.
Yes. Yeah. I think divorce. I'm a bit further along.
Yep. I finished the first season.
Yeah. So, I don't think my opinions have changed. I did start watching the second season, and there was something that happened halfway through, and I thought, are they going down this kind of typical route? But then they don't. Yeah. So they sort of pull it back a little bit, and something that would normally be very significant as a kind of plot development becomes quite minor, and it's quite interesting. There is a sort of joke made around it, and that plays out quite well. There's a couple of sort of twists that you don't see coming, which is good, but also. I think that around about halfway through season 2, there's a bit of a sort of change in tone, which is quite interesting with the film. The TV series, which is that it stops becoming about people being sort of nasty to each other, and people start to get along a lot more, and I think some of that uncomfortableness goes away, which makes it a lot easier to watch. So I think Rach and I were struggling to get through each episode, but then suddenly it was much easier to watch, and that uncomfortable feeling sort of went. And I think that's because some of the characters sort of started being a bit nicer to each other.
I mean, it's I'm really excited about watching the second season. I'm not sure if I would be wanting to watch the second season if I knew I had to wait a year. It's really interesting because basically I entered the first season as soon as the second season has come out. So I know the second season's out and I really want to watch it. I'm not sure, actually looking back, whether I would want to wait. It's definitely bingeable. It's definitely when you can just watch it one after the other, and I got a feeling it's just going to transition into the second season really easily. But well, yeah, looking back, I'm not sure. I will watch it, but I'm not sure if when I finish the season, will I want to wait another year to. Is it entertaining enough for me to be on my edge of my seat waiting for another season?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I sort of watch a lot of TV shows where I don't kind of feel that way at the moment. And Divorce, yeah, I mean, I've got to the end of the second season and I don't. I want to see more because I enjoy it, but like I say, I don't think I'm desperate to see more.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah, no,
so maybe
totally,
that is a good indication of the level. It's not on a par with some other stuff where you know, maybe like Game of Thrones where you're like, oh my god, I want to see more. But
although like with the era of the box set, I know a lot of people like I started watching Smallville for ages just so I could just wait to the end and just watch them all in one go. It's sort of like it's still definitely worth watching.
Yeah, there's definitely that delayed gratification with box set now where you're like, oh, there's only 3 seasons. Why would I watch that?
Yeah,
you know, I need a good like 10 seasons and then I can get on board. Yeah. Well, because you know you're always going to get to a point where you can't watch anymore and the story's not ended. Yeah. And so that's why
you have to wait like a week to week.
Yeah, that's why like films are so good in that regard, is that you get that package in an hour and a half, and you don't have to sort of think, well, I've got to commit to this to like 10 seasons to find out what happens, or I'm going to get to the end of season 2 and it just stops. Yeah. You know, that's like, well, that's always the worst when a show that you love gets like cut off about season 3.
One of my favourite shows is a show with Damien Lewis in called Life, and he only did two seasons. The second season was cut in half because they just cancelled the show, and they tied it up quite nicely, but it wasn't satisfying. You know, they unraveled this big plot, and all these different people are corrupt, and then they just tied it up in like one episode.
That's always a shame though, because it's like you can see them cutting corners, and you just sort of feel like cheated a little bit.
Damien Lewis Life, I think is awesome, so I recommend that. Should we? Do you want to get any more talk about Divorce, or should we go on to?
I don't think so.
No, we do recommend it. I know. Sorry if we seem negative now. We're just looking back into like, I will definitely watch the second season. I
think it's definitely. I think again, like we were saying with I Love Dick, is like give it a go. Yeah. First 10 minutes, you're gonna know if you like it or not. Yeah. And I think if you're definitely a fan of Catastrophe and previous programs like that, where it relies on uncomfortable humour or situations where people don't react in a typical sort of Hollywood way, you know, it's gonna give you something to grasp onto. Yeah.
And every character in some way is sort of relatable, which is kind of nice.
Yeah. So, A Divorce is available on Now TV and Sky, I think. So it's worth trying to check it out when it's available.
Hunt it down, and if you do like it, let us know in the comment.
I feel like we do need more comments and suggestions. Give us stuff to talk about.
Because if you don't comment, we just have to create like fake like profiles and stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna have to catfish our podcast. Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah,
that's we've totally got the time to do that. Yeah, or not.
Yeah, but So we move on to our main.
So this week's movie is Love, Simon.
Yep.
So it's directed by Gerg Berlanti. I think that's right. You're shaking your head at me.
I didn't look that up. I looked up quite a lot, but I didn't look that up.
But well, that's how I'm pronouncing it anyway. It might be pronounced differently. So this is a sort of teen comedy coming out story for a modern audience.
Yeah.
So it's that sort of. I think that's pretty much a good synopsis, don't you, James?
Yeah. It's a. Yeah, I think that sums it up perfectly. Yeah, this film was certainly. I really enjoyed this film when I first watched this. So yeah.
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 Me too. So I think we're on the same
a,
page with that, which is good.
So like when we talk about like Black Panther, I think I mentioned like it feels like a superhero movie. It doesn't feel like a film for like I used to work at Blockbuster. And it used to be filmed for black people.
Yeah.
And we live in London, and so we get to see all the advertisements and all the films of the LGTB films for like the BFI hosts every year, and it seems to be like it's a genre. I feel like this is a film, and even though the main character, even though it's about coming out, I feel like it isn't a film aimed at the LGTB community. It's a film that's aimed at everybody. It's quite a nice film, which is in a category. So like Black Panther isn't a black movie, even though it's centralized on black people. This isn't like an LGTB movie. Even I just think I think it's quite interesting the way it was. It just seemed really nice.
Yeah,
and
I mean, yeah, I know, I get what you're saying. I mean, it does tackle issues around coming out. But I agree with what the tone of it doesn't feel like, that's what it's trying to is not. I know what you're saying about it. It's trying to be for the mainstream, if that makes sense.
The whole intro is basically about the main character relating to everybody and saying like, look, this is me. I have a family. This is quite normal. This is me. I do this. I do this. I do this. I am just like everybody else, except for I have this secret. This is also who I am.
Yeah, so it's about a secret, and that it's like labelled as such in more than I'm like everybody else, but I'm gay.
Yeah,
it's more I'm like everybody else, but I have a secret, and that is the main sort of focus for the film, isn't it?
Yeah, although I don't know, I just felt like when I was watching the film, there's so many moments where I'm thinking I've been there. Like we've all carried a weight with us. We've all like not really wanted to sort of like fully show who we are, and we've all and you've got like the side characters as well who are also in like have love relationships, and they've all got awkwardness. So like you've got two friends who are nearly getting together, nearly not getting together. You've got one friend which doesn't really feel a part of everything and is like madly in love. And I just feel like this film, when it comes to social interaction, this film is really interesting in the way it displays different forms of social interaction. It's just trying to fit in and trying to be cool. So we got like the Martin character is sort of like I don't know. I'm getting mixing my words here, but I just felt like this film does more than what it does on paper. This film, I don't know. There's so much to see in this movie. There's so much to relate to.
I think what's important is about there are universal themes within it, but it is also giving a voice to teenage people who want to come out or are struggling with that. And for me, it felt like a sort of genuine voice around that, and it wasn't sort of playing being gay as something to be scared of or something. Well, I suppose it was at times, but I think the message sort of behind it is about questioning that whole process.
Yeah.
So there's that scene that's in the trailers about why is it that gay people have to come out to their parents, and then they twist it on its head and make a sort of joke around that. But that's sort of that is a very socialist sort of statement about society, which is that why is that a thing?
Yeah.
And why does that why does that even sort of need to be a thing? So I think it, it sort of has universal themes, but it's obviously, the core thing is around a voice, and I think any sort of diversity in that sense is a good thing.
The film did annoy me. It's sort of like when watching the second time, I realized how many times I thought it was a generic. It was going into the pitfall of like a generic film, a generic writing, a generic like two-dimensional characters. So the parents, for example, I had to get through about 45 minutes into the movie, and I realized the second time before they became three-dimensional. They're very two-dimensional, sort of like the way that there was script, like the first scene, what they do for the jobs, and it's sort of like, I know they set it up so it's like it's a paint by numbers, and I was really happy that each of the parents had an interesting scene, and they each one of them had just one scene that really brought themselves out.
Yeah,
and,
definitely, yeah.
When I was watching the second time, I realized how much it nearly didn't have this. I mean, one thing which I really thought was interesting is the dad character. The dad character is very on the surface homophobic, and then the audience isn't really shown how the dad reacts, and so I think I just made assumptions about what the dad is thinking, how the dad is reacting when the dad finds out about the secret. But I don't know. They have a scene with the dad later on, and it's actually quite interesting the way he's viewing it. He's being really selfish in terms of his views, but I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I think those kind of scenes with the parents are obviously like there for a big emotional impact. But it's funny you should say that, because last week I said I wanted to see a modern day John Hughes film, and I feel like I did get that. And one of the things that strikes me about the John Hughes film is that the parent characters sometimes they're there to surprise you, because normally, like quite often in teen films, parents are the like voice of authority. They're the voice to like prevent people from doing things and whatnot, or keep control, and the young people just want to rebel. And that is there with like some films, like I guess like I can't think of off the top of my head. I want to say Ferris Bueller, but I can't remember the parent character, what they do in that film. But you know what I mean. And but whereas if you watch I think it's Pretty in Pink or 16 Candles, one of those two, where the parent character becomes this very emotionally evolved person that is able to articulate their feelings. And for me, that was one of the moments in Love, Simon that really sort of connected to the sort of John Hughes like teen films. There was a lot of other stuff, with both the mother and the father figure, because like you're saying, there's two. They get their scenes, and it's needed, and it works. But that's where there was definitely a connection there for me, where the parent has that little moment of wonderful connection with their son or daughter, and that I think that is well played out in this film, as it is in those previous examples.
What I truly enjoyed about Jennifer Garner is an actress who I always liked to like. I think I had like this teenage crush on her, and now I'm an adult. I look back at all the films I watched her in, and I really not really connect with the characters, not really connecting with her. And like she's such a tiny role in this film, and I didn't like say when you get to her scene, it's so good. She's so good as a supporting character. Yeah. And the character is a therapist. And you get to a point, you get a feeling that they're sick of like having this therapist voice. The kids are sick of having this therapist voice in the house. but she speaks to him as a mother. Not only a mother can speak to their son, and she's.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like she's not trying to psychoanalyze him. She's just saying what she sees from the childhood. She's just saying what she knows about him, and then she's not assuming she knows more. She just, I don't know. It's sometimes we just don't really, we don't really appreciate the connection between connection you have with your parents, and I just felt like that scene was like. That scene like got me like there's a few points in this movie that got me in that.
But again, this is what for me like these kind of moments are what makes film and TV in general great, because yes, it's heightened, yes, it's cathartic, but it's what we go to watch movies for, is to understand our own feelings and to understand how we relate to the people around us and society and our connections. And that's what, that's for me is why it's okay for films to heighten those moments, because we might not have parents who are able to articulate themselves in those important sort of moments, but that connection is there. And that's why I think this is a sort of a great film for me, because it ticks that box of making you understand your own emotions in the world, and like with your parents or friends and family and people, I want to say lovers, but girlfriends and boyfriends and what, so I think that's what's great about this film, is that it ticks all of those boxes in a sense of making you understand your own feelings in relation to what the characters are sort of going through. And that's where I guess the universal themes come through as well, which is good.
It's in terms of like so in terms of like they have like a lot of like, I don't know, just like we sorry, I'm sorry, listeners, I just can't get my words out. In terms of like social media and like a lot of like posting online, and a lot of like that becomes like a big thing in this film. And like we know that some people act differently online than they do in real life, and some people think they can say anything they want online, it'll be fine, it's anonymous, and this. And it's kind of nice to. I very rarely see something in film and TV where someone tackle that. It's sort of like, it's not good just to I know you're not anonymous. You do hurt people's feelings, and just posting something and not really thinking about the consequences. There are consequences on that, whether they're directly on you, but you should definitely see them. You should definitely take value in them, and
I mean,
try and make amends.
I think what's interesting is that towards the end, the main character sort of owns that a little bit. And that is quite good. I tell you what, I really like about this film is that there's not really, I suppose you get this in teen films, which is that there's no antagonist. If you think about it, there's no bad person. Like even sort of Martin, who's there's lovable things about him, and he like sort of wants to do well but gets screwed over, and then screws somebody else over as a result. But sort of deep down, he wants to be a good guy. And so that's what I like about this film, and connects to, I think, a lot of the John Hughes stuff, is that like nobody's that bad. There's the typical high school bullies, but they sort of get what's coming to them, and in a way, but then sort of don't in another way. So it's just well played out in that sense, that there's it's not an hour and a half of people being nasty to each other.
No,
it's like people trying to get through life, trying to get trying to like each other, trying to make connections, trying to figure all of that out, and that's what I like about this film. Is it's a good, what I would describe as a hangover film. So it's quite safe. So
Yeah.
unlike sort of The Quiet Place last
Yeah.
week,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's a safe place, and like, you know, for me, I want to watch a film on a hangover that's going to make me feel like, you know, help me understand emotions and make me feel good, and, you know, be like a bit of a cushion blanket. And like, so my go-to on a hangover is not horror. I do like, I'm not going to go to that place. You know, I want this kind of movie.
I'm just trying to think of what the age rating. Do you know what age rating is?
The 12A.
Is it 12A?
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Why? Did you want some sexy times?
No, because it's sort of like it's a be a really good film. Like cause we didn't really have that much money for cinema growing up, so I used to watch films and TV, and especially Saturday daytime TV films. I don't know. His film doesn't. I don't know. Maybe there's a bit of swearing here and there, and maybe they can't really make it PG because PG doesn't sell as well nowadays. But
I think it's just to get that wider audience as well.
Yeah.
I think now, like, producers, they just want everything to be 12A because they can hit a bigger market.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, to be honest, I think that's the appropriate rating for this film. Like you say, there's no sort of, there's no like any, it's not like American Pie, those kind of more adult teen movies. It's much more, you know, that kind of early sort of teen. I think it works as a 12A.
A lot of heart in here, and like you say about like No Bad Guy, and when it comes to like feelings and emotions, no one's trying to, apart from like two stereotypical characters, that no one's actually trying to hurt anybody, but eventually gets hurt because like Simon's obviously keeping the secret, and so he's looking at people in certain ways, and like it's really interesting how often he gets hurt and no one else is even aware of anything. It's, I know, you get to understand the inner emotions of this main character when something simple might have happened on screen, and we know that he's taken this really badly. Because we've all been in a situation where someone's done something and it's really affected us, but no one else understands why it's affected us. It's really nice to be in a film where we get to understand why he's feeling in a certain way and why someone's making upset.
I mean, some of the things that I didn't like so much was the like revealing who he kind of thinks that it is at the time during the film. You know, when you see the scenes where the person that he's communicating with over email, you see it's like a false like information. But I think with that they maybe show you a bit too much throughout the film. Like, obviously not because you can work out who it is at the end, just because it felt a bit too expositional. Like, you sort of, you know, I think maybe that's like I can just pick up those signs a bit quicker, but I was like, you can work out quite easily who it's hinting towards without the obvious cutaways to the person who it may or may not be on the keyboard replying to Simon's emails.
With the first time he reads an email, it's sort of like there's a crash zoom on the words and then read the words. I thought it was like a really interesting effect, but then every single other time they go to this flashback thing. So when I was watching it the first time, thinking, "Oh, that's how we're going to do this." Yeah. But then they don't go back to that ever again, which is
I know. Yeah, I think that the things that they did were, those cutaways were just like a bit annoying. But other than that, and maybe the repetition of the monologue at the start, I don't know why we sort of needed that. The only thing that I can think of is that it's what he tells himself.
I like the fact that at the start it feels like a message directed to the audience, and I liked, on paper, I like the fact that they replicate the first speech. However, you either replicate it word by word, or you just give the audience a feeling that, or just what they did is sort of mashed the intro up together when they repeated the intro monologue. It was sort of like it's this big mashup of like it was audio chaos. I know that's what brought me out of it. I didn't mind the words were repeated.
Yeah,
it's the fact that they had this mashup of audio chaos in this.
Yeah, I just didn't think it quite worked.
No,
but those are like two very sort of minor points in what overall I think is a very good film.
I didn't enjoy the ending, and I thought I enjoyed the ending the first time. When watching the second time, I realised I really don't like this ending.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know. It would have been quite interesting if the other person didn't show up, because it's peer pressure. It's sort of like he's been forced to reveal himself, and now Simon's putting someone else in a position. I know he's not being nasty.
Yeah, but I think that's that less comfort blanket. That's your option is more the sort of real world.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
I think
if when he goes home, the person's there. The person's waiting outside his
that
house.
would have been a good way of doing it.
And it's sort of like I want to ride the Ferris wheel, but I want to take it one step at a time or something. I don't know.
Yeah, or like so the public Simon doesn't get what he wants, but the private Simon maybe does.
Yeah,
maybe that. But then I think I think not. I think that when because I think a lot of what it is about being okay and being comfortable with who you are. And what we see is like two people making a connection, falling in love, and then being able to be who they want to be and who they are. And I think that message for me that's part of the core message that you need to include in this kind of teen film. And whether you do that, quite cynically, like she's all that, and it's like you can tell from the start that she's like and like there's that's the teen movie equivalent of the Superman glasses disguise, isn't it? But I think sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, Jarrett was the additional friend to the core group, which they didn't really focus on, and I thought it was going to be Jarrett in the end. So it was like white jockey bloke is sort of like. So when someone says they're gonna have a party, he gets up and goes, "You're going to the party. You're going to the party."
Yeah. I thought it was going to be him
I was
as
like,
well.
I thought I am so clever. I've worked this out. I know who this is.
So spoiler alert, it's not him. And you probably watch this and think, who are they talking about?
Yeah.
Because he's so periphery that I thought it's got to be him.
Yeah.
Because he's just sort of there enough that it's going to be him. I was like,
he almost gets involved in most scenes.
Yeah.
He almost
just
is a main character.
There, yeah. A bit like, I suppose, I don't know why, but that's just made me think of Buster from Arrested Development, where he like hides behind things.
I've not seen Arrested Development.
Oh no, James.
Apparently, his mum or something.
I think new Arrested Development is coming. No, but he goes to this school where the whole purpose of the school is to be neither seen nor heard, and his character is like an expert at it. So there's like loads of jokes of him like just hiding behind a pillar, and you'll see him in the background of a shot.
Damn.
And where he's just sort of like hiding. But Arrested Development is coming back apparently.
But
so we can maybe review that in the future, folks.
So that leads us on to turning on to Mr. Worth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you thought it was the principal, didn't you? But
I just assumed because it's sort of like the only hierarchy sort of like character in terms of like.
But I'm pretty sure in the first scene he like introduced himself as like the deputy vice principal or something.
He definitely makes. I saw like so I saw the Clint Eastwood film Something to Paris. I can't remember the 1510 to Paris.
Right.
And they do this whole like school like background thing, and you've got some really great actors as teachers in there, but they're so clunky and so horrible. They try to be funny, they try to be snappy, and they try to make the characters enjoyable, but they're just not. But every time Mr. Worth was on screen in this movie, for me, I don't know, it just worked. his character, for me, it should be over the top. It should not work because his character is just over the top. But for me, I don't know. I just seem
just nails it.
Just seem to enjoy it.
What's the actor called again?
Tony Hale.
Yeah, Tony Hale. Yeah, so he plays Buster in Arrested Development, but he's also in Veep as well, and he's like amazing in that.
Veep. Sorry.
Yeah, so you need to get out there a bit more with the TV shows, James.
I watch other films.
I think it's okay because I nail the TV shows, and you sort of see a lot of films, so we work.
Yeah,
it's a good team. Screen Views, a match, a friendly match.
There was what else was there? There was an interesting. From the trailer, you think that music might be a big prominent thing in this film, and even though you could see there's an appreciation for music, it's not absorbed by it. There's no one's going out thinking, oh my god, the soundtrack was amazing. And especially nowadays, I think there's such a focus on soundtracks to movies. Sometimes soundtracks to movies have made movies equally, it's like boosted movies like representations. And so there's a nice appreciation for music for this film, but it doesn't absorb it. I can't think of a single song from the soundtrack, but I know when I'm watching it, I really enjoy the music.
But again, that does resonate with me with the kind of John Hughes stuff where there's maybe a big performance number and the song sort of relates to the film, but it's also a strong song in its own right. It's like, I suppose it's seamless. It's it's done, so that's what makes it well done, because you don't, it's there and it's done and it's prominent, but it's not too prominent that it's blatant and in your face and trying to sort of.
Do you know what my do you know hear my rewrite at the ending? What I think should have happened. So I think he shouldn't have found out about who Blue was, and then he gets ready to go to college, and he goes out one more time with his friends, and they get a coffee. And then as he's out in the park, in the coffee, he looks at the receipt. And the receipt has a note on it. And basically, Blue works part-time at the coffee shop. And they actually see each other all the time. It's Blue's last sort of attempt at connecting.
I thought at one point the arm that comes out of the coffee shop might be... But it's quite well done in that sense that you're like, oh, it could be that person. It could be like, because there's quite a lot going on, and
they do make the possible people too obvious. I don't know. It's that annoyed me a little bit because
I think
basically someone was in a perfect situation of sending a message, and he gets a message, and then someone says something in the background which perfectly correlates with this message. And so I didn't mind it though. It's a film.
It's okay.
I really enjoyed it the first time. It's only the second time I'm starting to pick apart.
I think maybe again it's that in there for the younger audience, so the younger audience can follow Chivy along. But I think we've just invented a Screen View spin-off podcast where we sit down and rewrite the ending to famous films.
Yeah, damn right. That was
There we go. It's a spin-off. Look out for the spin-off, people. It's coming.
And maybe I was just a miserable teenager. Maybe I didn't get the happy ending, and maybe I related to everything in this movie.
But you did get a number on a receipt, did you?
Yeah. I wish.
Somebody's digits on a receipt.
Well, that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. Maybe I did. Maybe I got a heartfelt message on a receipt and I chucked it away. Maybe I did have a happy ending out there. I just didn't pay attention. So, yeah. Blue, if you're out there,
please get in touch. Please message us. Just tell us how much you like the podcast. With a hint towards your love for James in code.
Tempted to make a new profile now called Blue and just send a message. I'll have a love affair with myself.
You catfish yourself. Brilliant. Okay. So recommend. I was about to say, should we move on? But we haven't recommended this film for anyone yet. So this is a USP of our podcast. So I think we need to get it in somewhere.
This is a movie to watch at any time of the day.
Yes. Hangover film.
Yeah. You said It's a movie at any time of the day, and
It's nice.
Just nice, yeah.
Yeah.
You can like
It's
your
like-
80s John Hughes movies if you like
just programs like Master of None, where
yeah.
like people just aren't being assholes to people all the time. It's like nice.
It's just it's nice, relaxing. There'll be a character in there that you do relate to. Jennifer Garner, her supporting scene will knock you out of the park. It knocked me out of the park. I know, keep bringing it up, but
yeah,
like
but then the dad scene is really good as well. So
the dad was good, but I know that's a good actor, and I trust his work, and I wasn't really surprised by that performance.
right.
I mean, Jennifer Garner is a great actress,
It's a bit
but
of a curveball.
I never actually connected with her character.
Yeah, although we maybe like bigged it up a little bit too much now. I hope not.
Yeah, it's actually rubbish. This is actually mediocre. Go in with an open mind and
No, I don't mean the film.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean
no.
So
Oh, I know,
the parent parts.
as like I said, I watched it twice, and I started to get my doubts the second time. I started picking it apart the second time. First time, loved it. But second time watching her performance, I just loved her performance even more. It's like one of the only parts of the movies where I've enjoyed it more the second time than I did the first time.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
I think that's why it's it stuck out in my head.
Okay.
So,
Cool. But
yeah.
who is this film for? Do we think?
It's I think 10 and up, maybe actually 12 and up.
Yeah, I
don't know.
think for that's the interesting thing about the 12A rating is that I'm not sure anyone below secondary school or high school would
below 13.
would be able to connect with this. I think the minute you've sort of gone to that bigger school and like you can understand the that there's different pockets of friendship groups and everybody's trying to work out who they are in the world and everybody's trying to like get laid and you're in that weird sort of like formative time of your life.
Actually, I've just realised a couple of comments that people made in the like the characters made. Actually, so like 13 onwards. There's one very, very rude thing in this movie, and I didn't notice until like the second time watching it. And like he's about to say something, and he gets halfway through saying something, and someone cuts him off. And it's a brilliant piece of writing because you haven't actually had the character say it.
Yeah,
but they almost said
it's implied. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like it's caught me off guard completely.
Yeah, but I think it's that thing where it's because it's one off, it's okay.
Yeah.
So even in like a Disney movie or some Disney Pixar or something like that, you might have really really strong innuendos, but it's okay for a 12A because it's not frequent.
Yeah.
So that's where I think the rating thing sort of differs because it's not relentless.
Now that I'm thinking about it's there are only two conversations which I think are for the older audience. Yeah. But I would say 13 and up. A group of teenagers can see this film on their own.
Yep.
I think they'll really enjoy it.
And I think,
boys and group of girls.
But I think equally, like a couple could go see this film.
Yeah.
I think a couple of, especially if you're parents, you might relate to it a lot. So I think they have done a good job of getting that universal sort of, because basically we're not the target audience for this film at all. So and it still appealed to me, and I think that says a lot in that it can appeal to to an adult male and like anyone. It's quite good in that sense.
I think it's for me. I think it's because it's a romantic comedy, but whether they get together or not is irrelevant to enjoy this movie. A lot of these romantic comedies are all about like, oh my God, will they meet and will they get together and will they, and like you sort of like the whole film is like banking on this one event at near the end, and like I say with me, the ending could have been different. I enjoyed the movie for what it is up until the end. I didn't need that. It offers so much within the movie. It's not like relying on the ending. So
it reminded me as well of like a film called Empire Records as well, where it's like it's about it's really it's one of my favorite sort of films. I think just because it's not that well known, and and I sort of discovered it and loved it.
70s or 80s?
I think it's 90s. Yeah, it's like a pre-Juno. Juno. The film Juno.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that. I think it's like a one-off. So like an unknown. I think it's a female writer.
Okay.
Like wrote the film, and it's just it's got that kind of that it's about it's about friendship as much as it is about romance. I think that's why it's reminding me of how it reminded me of Empire Records and what you were just talking about there, where the romance is the core sort of part of the movie, but there's so much other sort of things going in there about around coming out, friendship groups, relationships with parents, coming of age. It's got a lot more going on than just the standard romance. So yeah, I think what we're saying is that it's pretty universal. And
I just googled Empire Records. I don't know. I'd recommend another film.
Well, yeah, it's a shame we can't like review older films. I suppose we could, but maybe if we have a bit of a dry week.
Or bonus video.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, loads of, we're just
contemplating ideas at the moment.
or just blatantly hinting towards spin-offs that we already
in the pipeline.
thinking of.
That
will never happen. Okay,
so move on to 800 words.
800 words,
or
poison.
Our review will be longer than that.
So last week, so we had Divorce was the guinea pig. So Divorce was the guinea pig, whereas 800 words was me asking you to try some poison that I've already tasted to see if it's poison or not.
I watched it.
Okay, so sorry, just to clarify. So 800 words is a TV series on BBC. I think it's BBC One, isn't it?
BBC One
at the moment.
It's about 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah, so it's daytime TV, so that's why it's a bit of a curveball as well. 2:00 on weekdays, and it's on the iPlayer as well. And it's interesting because I think it started in 2015, but it's a bit of an export from New Zealand or Australia. Yeah. So they're only just showing it on BBC.
Yeah.
And the premise of the show is about a guy who his wife dies, and he decides to move his family from Australia to a very small town in New Zealand called Weld, and we sort of see the events of the program take off from there. So on that premise, James, how was the poison?
It was. So I understand why you weren't sure if it was good or not.
Well, I think the fact that it was daytime TV, it makes me question things, rightly or wrongly.
It's sort of like it's a lot better than my experience of daytime TV. A lot better.
I'm relieved.
It's on the cusp of being a really good show.
Yeah.
But it just seems to. I enjoy most of every episode, and it's enough for me to carry on. It really is. But my issue with the show just won't go away. It's so like I know it's really interesting. It's basically called 800 words because he writes 800 words for articles. So like every week he writes an article and it's like exactly 800 words. And it's quite an interesting concept, and he's writing these words and he sort of breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah, the House of Cards sort of, yeah.
But it's not consistent, and it's really annoying that in the first episode we have like a quiet moment of like, I don't know, it keeps making rules for this thing and it keeps breaking the rules, and that's one thing that bugs me. The other things, which it's a good show, guys. Sorry, it's I will get to my thoughts on the positives, but And I just thought, actually, I'll just. Sorry. I will. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I kept on watching it. It's daily, so it's week daily. So I was able to watch 5 episodes within a week, obviously, because you all can count and all that. And yeah, so it means I got through it quite a lot and quite easy. And
Yeah, it's an easy watch. Isn't
yeah,
it? Yeah.
On a week to week, I'm not sure, but I
Yeah.
know on a day to day, yeah, it's really it's very consistent of what it is. So you watch the first half an hour and it's the same sort of like, if you like the first half an hour, then you're gonna like the whole show because it's all very consistent.
Yeah.
There's no down episodes. One thing that's very interesting is the amount of characters it has in it. So it opens it up to the amount of characters, and a lot of them are 2-dimensional.
Well, they seem that way to begin with, and
They
then
seem that way to
they
begin
sort
with.
of unpick a little bit more.
Yeah, my worst character has slowly become my best character. I think it's a Woody.
Yeah, the
Woody,
builder. Yeah.
Woody is just like this annoying 2-dimensional character, and you just don't like it first. But then he just keeps showing his face,
Yeah.
and like he just shows his face when you don't expect to want him. And the same with the family feel exactly the same way.
But it's good that he sort of has these little tiny moments of. So on the face of it, he's dumb basically, but you know underneath there's maybe a lot more going on than what he reveals on the. Or he's able to clarify things in a way that the main character can't.
Yeah.
And so you sort of, that adds those layers that makes him three-dimensional a bit more.
I feel like he's just got a lot of. He really likes the main character, and it's like that kind of nice in this sort of like. And with this show, you got a lot of people who are just content. Or a lot of people which are love interests.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice to see someone who just likes somebody.
And it's interesting that as a just a pure coincidence, this week we've done Love, Simon and 800 Words, and they are both shows where there's everybody's sort of nice. There's not like there's. I mean, I know in this Big Mac is sort of presented as the bad guy, the antagonist, but even him, he sort of has moments where he's like, "Oh, your wife's died. That's really terrible. It happened to me too." And there's like, there's moments where people are vulnerable and then people are not, and that's I quite like that when shows do that.
It's I do like the Big Max has like 2 sons, and the one son soon has 3 sons. We've not seen one of the sons. One son's a more of a thuggish person, which you don't really see after the first episode. I think that's Pilot's sort of like he's been written out or something because you've not seen him again.
Who's that?
So
Sorry.
he's got Big Mac has 3 sons. One is not in the show. He's like he was.
Well, one's in prison.
Yeah. One's in prison.
And then there's Monty.
And there's 2 left.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
I thought there was only one after that. The plumber.
The plumber.
Yeah.
And the estate agent.
Yeah, Monty is the estate agent.
The estate agent isn't the plumber.
No. They're 2 different.
Yeah. So 3 sons. One's in prison. One's.
Yeah, so one's in prison, one's the estate agent, and one is the plumber.
3 sons.
Yeah, so which one is the one that is missing?
The Robert's in prison. You've not seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But which one is the one that you've seen that you never see again?
Well, we don't see the plumber.
Yeah, he pops up now and again.
I just feel like he was in it loads in the first couple of episodes, and then you just hardly see him again.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he's not prominent, but he's there and he's around in.
Yeah, but he used to like episodes. Always. So when he first introduced his character, he used to be always with Big Mac, and now it's sort of like I feel like I've seen more scenes with Big Mac without him anymore. I feel like they've written written him down. But the estate agent, he's I don't like that. I like his character. He's not a very nice person. He's not a very nice character, and he's just like
sort of a lovable idiot, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's just and it's sort of like you're like all right, and I do enjoy every single character. there's a reason to enjoy every single character, whether they're nice people or not nice people. I mean, I call that everybody's nice. Everybody. It's all like it's in a holiday place, and everybody. It's a big community, and like everybody knows each other. Everybody's nice. Everybody does favors for each other, and so on the surface, everybody is nice, and actually under the surface, everybody has a love for each other.
Yeah.
But
there's little things that come in and out that you find out about and that get revealed and stuff, and
ignorance is bliss. Sort of like symbolizes the I think a lot of the background of the show.
I think sort of I because there's like each week like the 800 words article tackles like a theme, doesn't it? So like one week it'll be jealousy, or some weeks it'll be like secrets or town gossip. And I think what I sort of really connected with the show is like coming from a small tourist town in England that's very seasonal, very small, everybody knows everybody's business. I think I just sort of connected to it. And there's also the surfing aspect of it as well. Just to me, and just in general, I think what I quite like about this show as well is a bit more. It's just like a more sophisticated, well-written sort of Neighbours.
Yeah.
So it's like a soap opera, but it's just the writing is so much better that you get a good balance between the two. So you get the silly scenes, you get the gossip, you get the soap opera-y like relationship breakdowns, but then you get slightly more sophisticated thinking around like the events as well.
I think the way they show the characters on screen. I mean, like from the start, the daughter is presented quite loudly on the screen, and the way she acts and her character, and the dad's also the main character. I think the son is quite an interesting character because they slowly reveal his characteristics, and they're taking the time to really
develop.
And that's kind of interesting. I feel like he's also developing himself as well, and he's not really. He's just slowly getting confident, and he's really intelligent. And he's looking at stuff with like an open eye. And that's sort of cool. The one thing which the Cougar Crew, which keeps being referred to within the show, the female interests.
The Cougars.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the thing the name that they use for the fish food, but I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, the Cougars, as it were. Yeah.
That storyline is it's the one thing that is very repetitive in the show. And the one thing if you watch it on a day-to-day, so watching on a day-to-day is great because of so many reasons. But one thing that's not good is that one storyline. It's just very repetitive. Yeah, and
quite like, it's a bit sort of obvious at times, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just like part of me just gets like quite annoyed. Not quite annoyed. As two of the Cougar clan. For some reason, I just get them mixed up, like visually. They blonde the blue eyes, and so I just.
It's the teacher and the ambulance driver, isn't it?
Yeah. And every single scene, I have to try and work out who are they again, and like I have to like. But
I do exactly the same.
Yeah. And it's not like because deep down they're both completely different characters, but on the surface, because of actually how the show is written as well, everybody's on this like surface level, happy and nice, and so everybody sort of reacts the same at first, and then when you slowly get to know people, it's like, hey, how's it going? And then you slowly get to know the characteristics and
their interests and such. So I think it's a really easy watch, isn't it? It's something that you can have on in the background if you want to. It's something that you can sit down and just switch off to. And like again, a bit like the sort of Hangover film, like nothing sort of terrible is it's quite safe. In its own way, and so I think that's. It's a bit of light relief in that sense.
It would have been nice for it to handle certain situations a bit more. I mean, there's this situation of like teenage sex, and also there's, I don't know, they bring up a lot of like big things to talk about, and then I think it's always interesting when a TV program brings up stuff like, well, what are you gonna do with this now you brought it up? What sort of message are you gonna send, and what sort of like what are the characters gonna learn, and how are the audience gonna learn that?
Yeah.
I feel like they just present stuff and they don't really tackle it. And,
Oh, that's interesting, because I thought they did that really well, that whole section. Because for me, it wasn't about teenage sex. It was more about a dad not being able to connect or understand his daughter.
yeah, that aspect of it, I do like, but it's sort of like there's only like 50% of, I don't know. There's sort of like the dad sort of like brings up a lot of points of like thinking like, well, she not, we not really had to talk, and did you talk to her? Did you? I don't know. There's just so many. There's so much.
Yeah, but it's like, I think what is good is that it's done in a way that it's like the sex is the minor point,
Yeah.
because the bigger thing is, it's about grieving, and it's about coping with grieving, and it's about how a family moves on from something quite big happening. And so in that sense, I thought that was handled quite well.
I didn't enjoy the grieving aspect of it. Is kind of, it's interesting when it's hinted, and when it's sort of like this, it's nice and subtle. For some reason, as soon as we get through halfway between the season, it feels like to bring it all up again. I feel like, I don't know. It feels like we've just gone 2 steps backwards, and it feels like they all of a sudden it's like blowing up like a blue. I don't know.
But I think that's
feel
the
like
whole
unnatural.
sort of statement about you can like physically move away from the place where you had a relationship where somebody sort of died.
Yeah.
But that doesn't resolve the issue. And so I think a lot of it is trying to discuss how you process, how you get through that.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm sorry, James. I feel like I'm like defending this.
No,
show
I just like it if it wasn't as obvious. I mean, like I say, I really enjoy the Woody character because he's just really nice. It's not obvious. I don't know. I felt like his character. At first I felt his character was written like really poorly, and then I realized I really enjoy his character. I really enjoy the way he's written. Enjoy the way he's subtle, and I just felt like when they started to like halfway through the season, then start to go through grieving, I just feel like it isn't subtle. And you've got on one hand, you're writing his character really subtly and really interestingly.
I suppose that's the soap opera part coming in, isn't it?
So Woody and the son character, I just felt are written really well.
Yeah.
And it sort of annoys me the fact that we're not approaching the whole show in this sort of mindset.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I just sort of, I mean, I don't know. I still don't know why 100%, because it's not just a small town thing. I sort of really, and maybe it's the concept, or maybe it's all the sort of things combined, but I really, and maybe it's just because I've been watching a lot of heavy stuff. It's nice to just watch something that's a bit lighter and a bit easier to sort of watch. And so, and it's in, so we've been watching Jessica Jones a lot, and it's in stark contrast to that.
Yeah.
So, so maybe we can review Jessica Jones next week.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it next week yet.
So we'll talk about that in a bit, but should we sort of think about who we recommend 800 Words for?
Yeah. It's like it's very consistent. So like I say, when you watch your first episode, you'll know if you want to continue watching. So it's not one of these shows where someone says, "Oh, watch the first couple of seasons, and you'll get into it." No, you'll know, get into it straight away. It's very light. There has some really nice, interesting characters in there. They've got a lot of characters in there, and you don't really need to think about. I think you mentioned, you said it before, like you can have it on while you're washing up, and you can have it on in the background.
Yeah.
And because visually, there are some visual really beautiful shots in this show, but it's not like all the time. And there's some really interesting lines of dialogue in the show, but it's not all the time. So it's not gripping. You're not like, I can't miss a second of this show.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
can sort of have it loud in the background. Go out. Get
a lot of things
and
get like repeated as well.
Yeah. And so it's alright. It's alright.
That's your recommendation. Yeah. It's alright for some people.
I think I can't really think of who wouldn't like it. I mean,
I think a lot of people potentially wouldn't like this show, just because it is a bit soap opera-y.
Yeah.
It's a bit light on. There's not anything to sort of get to grips with. There's not, unlike most of the episodes are quite self-contained.
Yeah.
So there's not like, although the characters come in and out, and there are like the cougar thing that get repeated across different episodes. You could just watch one episode, not watch 3 episodes, and then go in again. So it's not got that like you said, gripping box set feel to it. So I wouldn't recommend it for somebody who's wanting to watch something that's gonna like drama. It's somebody. I would recommend it for anybody who just wants to watch something that's not gonna make them feel bad about their own life. Then you're gonna. It's gonna make you feel quite okay, and you just and it's quite like there's a few comedy moments in there. It's not laugh out loud, but it's just a kind of nice thing. I definitely recommend it for somebody who's a fan of sort of New Zealand or culture, or somebody who's interested in small town sort of mentality, somebody who likes Neighbours or Home and Away and wants to see something a bit more sophisticated. Because maybe that's the thing, like I used to watch Neighbours quite a lot when I was younger, and it was kind of like a program that me and my mum would watch together. And so for me, I saw it more of like, well, let's watch this program together and we both get something out of it. And I think this program can sort of do the same thing. So I think you can watch it as with a teenage son or daughter and connect, and so I think it's got like some good stuff in there.
You don't need to think about it. It doesn't spoon feed you everything. All the information you get told visually and verbally. And it's if instead of flicking through loads of stuff on Netflix to find out what you're gonna watch when you're having your lunch, just stick this on. It's a great lunchtime thing.
And I think that's why it's a daytime program. I think putting it on in the daytime does sort of work, because like I know that I can't watch it because I'm at work, but I've got it series linked, and I know if I get home and I want to switch off, I don't want to think about what I'm watching, I don't want to have to concentrate, I can just stick this on and for 40-50 minutes it'll be a good, enjoyable sort of story.
You know what, actually it'll be good for breaks as well. Look at iPlayer. If you watch this like in 10-minute chunks, you don't really. It's not like, do you know some shows you need to watch the whole show in here for the quick play. You can watch this in 10-minute chunks.
Yeah, I do as well. Yeah.
If you got like I
do that.
You have fag breaks, or not, we don't condone smoking, but like if you go like lots of breaks.
Yeah, or maybe commute as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, commute. Yeah. For the commuters. This is a good one to have in the back pocket. You're not gonna be too excited, but not gonna be bored. So if you're on a commute and someone keeps distracting you, you've not like wasted your time watching the show. That's our recommendations. For
I mean, I'm
and
definitely gonna keep watching it.
Yeah,
I think I'm perhaps a bigger fan of the show that I'm letting on, like just because I'm like a bit worried that I should be like holding back, but I think that's okay. I think because for me, I watched Neighbours as a kid. This is along the same lines, but it's got a bit more that I can connect with as an adult.
I'm really enjoying it, but I know the day's gonna come when there's gonna be a bad episode.
Yeah, and you're just gonna be like,
and
that's
that bad
it.
episode is it might just make me just not watch it anymore. But I've seen season 1. I've enjoyed it. I'm gonna watch season 2. But yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if season 2 is as consistent as the first one.
Yeah,
because like you say, first season, each episode is about on the same level. There's not, oh my god, this episode is amazing, this episode's really bad. It's just, it's on one sort of consistent level.
You could chop up 10 scenes from 10 episodes, pull it together, and it could be an entertaining show.
Yeah.
It'll probably make sense.
Yeah. And James has just invented our YouTube channel. Coming to you soon.
The Mashup Monster Mix. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay. Should we move on to next week?
Next week. Yeah. So we've not actually discussed. So normally we discuss what we're going to do next week.
Oh yeah, true.
We can definitely do Jessica Jones because I've seen that. And
I think I need to, without giving too much away, I need to get a lot off my chest.
Cool. Yeah.
With this program.
Well, talking about chess, we could either go for the heart-beating Rampage. We could do, or we could do because Gorilla Chess and all that, or
the potato pie Guernsey.
Yeah,
what was
Guernsey
it called?
Potato peel pie something.
Society.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Better get that line in the trailer because people are gonna say that's a mouthful.
The potato. Yeah, they are. They should
do you
give
see
away
what they
free
did
potatoes
there?
with this movie.
Is that your next
cinema
tip? So we've had flumps.
Yeah.
For A Quiet Place. Now we've got
the potatoes. Yeah,
that's a good. Actually, see, in my head when you first said it, I was thinking of a unpeeled, uncooked potato. But now I'm thinking, potato skins. I'm thinking
you've already got the nacho cheese there.
Yeah,
you already got the bits.
James, you're a genius.
Damn,
you're a food cinema marketing genius.
So you need to go to a place that does fresh chip but don't have the potato skins. Do a deal, get the potato skins. Damn. Odeon, get on this.
Do fries. You can do loads of different types of potatoes.
Yeah.
And pie as well. Why are we not talking about pie?
Potato pie.
Yeah, because isn't it the potato pie society?
I don't know. I just stick with potatoes. I think Odeon should just stick with potatoes. Don't know what pies yet.
No, but there is pie in the title.
Is it potato pie? Yeah, I think it's pie, not peel. That makes sense. Because why would it be a society on potato peel?
No, I think it's definitely
potato pie society. It's definitely more logical. So what we're gonna do?
I don't know.
A peel or pie? That's an age-old question.
You see, what we should do is do a vote with the viewers. What are we going to see next week? To all the podcast listeners, or we could just ring our mums and ask what we should.
Shall we do flip a coin?
All right. Yeah.
I've got a coin here. Heads or tails?
Oh, this is like live drama.
Yeah. Heads or tails?
I feel like which is which? Well, you need to say heads is Rampage.
Yeah.
Tails is potato pie.
yeah.
I know which one. I see. There's two parts of my brain. One is secretly wishing for Rampage because that's going to be more fun, and the other, more sophisticated film goer of my brain is going, I want to see the potato peel society pie people.
Yeah. Oh, we do flip a coin. We do heads.
So
gorilla.
heads is Rampage, because that's
Queen rampages through us.
Well, no, just because giant head.
Yeah. And tail is Guernsey. Potato peel thing. Okay, so
what was it, James? Big reveal. Ooh, drum roll.
We're gonna watch the Guernsey potato peel thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And listeners will work out the correct title for next week. Which, in the first episode, I think I spoke about my fear of not being able to get people's names right or titles of films right. And I think we failed on that at least once a podcast.
With 5 episodes in, if at this stage they're responsible for our downfalling as much as we are, so If you got to this stage and then said this is ridiculous, then shame on you, not us. It's sort of like, come on. I'm sorry, I don't know.
You're talking about the people who came up with the name for the book and the film.
Oh no, I'm just talking about our listeners. But
okay.
I won't believe our listeners anymore.
Sorry, Mum.
Yeah. Sorry. See, I don't think my mum actually listens to my podcast.
Does she not? I don't think mine does either.
I'm bringing 0 people to this party.
So we need to.
Next week we wrap it up.
Yeah, we need to wrap this up because otherwise we'll just keep mumbling on about mums and potatoes.
Yeah. Did I tell you about my mum's potato pie? So
okay.
we'll see you next week, and if you've got any comments about this, feel free to leave us a comment and like us and subscribe.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very much. Bye.